So, and this follows on. So my segment follows on from your segment quite nicely. It
Yes, it does.
dovetails really nicely because it's about Ben and Jerry's. So they've waded in. I didn't even realize Ben and Jerry's had such a history of being politicized. I mean, as far as I knew, they were an ice cream factory.
And the shame is that it's damn nice ice cream as well. When I've had it in the past,
it's all right.
I think it's really nice.
Well, all right, we're not here to sell Ben and Jerry's. They don't need the help.
but-
They've got the top sales of any ice cream in America. They've got 163 million pounds in 2020,
Really?
I believe, and also it went up 26% during lockdown because everybody just sat in their arse spending their
Getting
furlough
fat,
money on ice
yeah.
cream.
I think they started as a co-op.
Right.
As well, that's probably so. They always had a bit of a political bent to them.
Well,
just
like
from
a
the very
shop.
nature. No, like a cooperative in terms of how they ran their business. But yeah, let's continue.
Yeah, cool. So basically, Ben and Jerry's tweeted about the Rittenhouse trial, and I was like, "What? I thought you sold like chilled sweet lard, and I don't really understand why you're getting involved, like you're running for president." But they said the justice system is racist, and this proves it. So somehow a white guy shooting three white guys who are attacking him is racism. I don't know how that works. And how would this trial be going if it was a black 17-year-old that crossed state lines illegally carrying an AR-15 and shot three white protesters? Like, it'd probably be going exactly the same.
If he was defending himself.
So yeah, my reply was if he was black and he shot the same three white men, you're like a paedophile, an armed white guy, and some other armed white guy, you'd name an ice cream after him, which I thought was pithy. But it got me banned from Instagram, so I put a screenshot of it on Instagram, and it says, so if you scroll down, post goes against their community guidelines of always saying the right thing, and following rules that are opaque and not transparent, and nobody knows what they are. But so we just arbitrarily remove stuff. So post removed for violence or dangerous organisations. So Ben and Jerry's, Instagram have come out and said it, what we're all thinking. Ben and Jerry's is a violent and dangerous organisation. But yeah, getting back to Ben and Jerry's and their tweeting, I didn't realise they have a history of, it's a marketing campaign, obviously. They've seized the woke social media marketing, and they're just constantly doing these virtue signalling posts that get loads of retweets and loads of likes.
I love that. Actively tagged Preeti Patel in this, like the Home Office is going to be like Ben and Jerry's are pushing again. Come on, Preeti, we need to get stuff done.
Yeah. So so this is back. This is going back a year. And so they're tweeting about Preeti. We think the real crisis is our lack of humanity for people fleeing war. We pulled together a thread for you. And in the thread, they basically go on about how borders are wrong and everybody should be let. They sound like every white teenage girl on Instagram, basically. And so real politicians who have actually got the qualifications and the mandate to speak hit back. Here's James Cleverly. Good name.
Yep.
Good name. Much better name than James Stupidly. But he said, "Can I have a large scoop of statistically inaccurate virtue signalling with my grossly overpriced ice cream, please?" Bam! Slammed. So yeah, and if we go down, we can see Ben and Jerry's. If we go to the next one, sorry. And again. Well, yeah, actually, this is the same one. But so they want open borders. But if we go to the next one, the next one. So this is the Ben and Jerry's factory tour, and guess what? It's got a big gate round it, a big fence round it, and a gate that locks. That border, and then you get inside that border. They've got another border. The building's got walls, and it's got these like hinged, like sort of flaps on it, but they lock. They try and stop people coming in who aren't
hypocrisy.
who aren't allowed to be there.
Good
which
God.
Which I find disgusting. I think everybody should be allowed to go to Ben and Jerry's and take whatever they want.
Open borders for fatties.
Open borders for Ben and Jerry's. So they're hugely hypocritical. And you should definitely, if anybody's watching, you can righteously shoplift and riot and burn. Are we allowed to say you can burn down Ben and Jerry's? Well, you can. I mean, it's probably going to take a while to burn. It's made out of ice cream. It's not going to burn. You can shoplift.
It. You
can shoplift from Ben and Jerry's. Yeah, you can stick your finger up your bum and then touch the ice cream. But like I dug through the history of Ben and Jerry's tweets. Sometimes I agree with it. This Veterans Day, it's time to stop incarcerating veterans. So I think veterans do need more support for mental health. There is a tendency to just discard people when they've come out of active service. And obviously, man, like people could talk about PTSD. I mean, I told my girlfriend this morning, I was like, I've got PTSD from living on the Metropolitan line. I mean, God. Everybody just shaking when I Google like the line status and stuff. I missed a gig on Friday. Missed a wonderful gig, Comedy Carnival in Covent Garden. I left to get there an hour and a half early, but because the Metropolitan line is so terrible, I missed this. I think I got there too late, and now promoter probably hates me and stuff. But yeah, so I'll skip through these because there's loads of them. So this is all the things that Ben and Jerry's think is racist. They think everything is racist. So COVID restrictions are racist, even though, as far as I know, in letter and in law, they're not racist. They're applied evenly to everyone. The next one, policing is racist. So defund the police, defend black communities, which is exactly what Kyle Rittenhouse was doing.
Well, yeah.
And then when it's actually applied in practice, when somebody steps in to fill the void created by the police stepping back and allowing rioters and looters to come in and destroy black-owned businesses, then somebody steps in to help them, and they get criticised for it. Apparently it's a bad idea then. And the next one is also, like the police are racist again. The next one, prisons are racist. So the prison industrial complex is racist. It's a good name for ice cream, by the way. The next one, prisons are still racist. We've got to close the wasteful and racist jail in St. Louis and send them all to the Ben & Jerry's factory where the doors will be open.
Like
the
Lumpers.
The next one, they can work in. The next one, contracts with private prison companies is prisons are racist. The next one, prisons are racist. The next one, elections are racist.
I think that's just America is racist there.
Yeah, they say
broad brush.
They basically say elections are racist. Okay. Here's our take on the election, because everybody was wondering what some ice cream vendor, was thinking about the election. It's like, Jesus Christ! I understand people can have a platform and use their platform, but you literally make ice cream. Yeah. You don't even if you're involved in anything, if you're like a newspaper or just something to do with opinion and fact and stuff, but you're not. You literally just make just really unhealthy ice cream.
Who scrolls through the Ben and Jerry's Twitter feed and goes, "Thank God, now I am informed."
Yeah, exactly. So the next one, voting laws are racist. There's not much that Ben and Jerry's think isn't racist. The next one, society is racist. The next one, shameful rhetoric is racist. I'm not even sure what they're talking about. Racism is a virus. It's not a virus. It's literally not a virus. A virus, oh God. I mean, you can't inoculate yourself against racism. You can't have some sort of jab. You can't get some sort of racism passport. Actually, that's a lie. I've got a certificate of non-racism. I'm the only comedian in the UK who's certified non-racist.
So everybody else is racist?
Well, I can't say that for sure. But
you've not seen their passport?
The only thing I can say for sure is that I am not racist because I've got the certificate. You
should bring it in next time.
Yeah, I will.
Just to prove it.
I will. I know you'll be very relieved when you see it.
Thank God, we were so worried.
So this is funny. So this is about Asian American racism, because after Black Lives Matter, there's a big companies were gave people a day off if they're like, my friend works at a company that gave everybody who's black a day off to have time to
so they can recover,
think about stuff and do whatever community work or whatever, or as my mate did who's black, played video games. But then there was some sort of there's the Asian American thing back in March, and there's racism against Asian Americans. So the same company basically just sent an email out to everyone saying, look, okay, Asian workers can do the same. You can also have a day off. You know what I mean? But really sort of resigned.
Only white people work today. There you go. Yeah. Sorted.
But no, it's just the sort of patronage and the way they sort of grudged it. They sort of, they're like, okay, you can also have a day off. It's that kind of tone.
But the Asians are our best workers, damn.
That's racist. I think you find the Scots are the best workers.
I must have left my certificate at home.
Yeah, and next tab, If we go up, I think this is actually the same. It's the same one. It's the same thread. The next one. So ice cream that isn't this ice cream is also racist. So this is Change is Brewing. This has got fudge brownies, marshmallow swirls, and a movement to invest in black communities instead of racist systems of policing. Now that's sweet. I mean, come on. It's ice cream. It's ice cream. Stop trying to be Maya Angelou. It's ice cream. Okay, next thread. Schools are racist. Schools are racist as well. Next thread. Some guy called Steve King is racist. Don't even know who he is. I bet he's not even racist. You know?
Not that Steve King. Just a different Steve King.
He's not the writer. He's not the writer. So yeah, and obviously Ben and Jerry's, they've famously got an ice cream on the next one that's got Colin Kaepernick on it called Change the World. Change the World. So fighting for justice for black and brown communities is hard work. Celebrating the pursuit of a more just tomorrow with Colin Kaepernick's Change the World non-dairy ice cream. So, I mean, you know, this is them. Virtue Signaling. I mean, it's basically them, like, riding off the back of the Black Lives Matter movement to get free advertising, which is pretty cynical. I mean, bear in mind, Ben and Jerry's, they're not just a private company. They're owned by Unilever, which is a global, you know, multinational conglomerate. These guys don't care about anything except money, and they've found a way to make money and get cheap advertising through these social media campaigns riding on the back of social justice. So this is pure advertising.
Oh yeah,
you know,
and Kaepernick does not ever miss an opportunity to have his face plastered on something.
Yeah, absolutely. And Colin Kaepernick, if we move on to the next one, so he's recently.
Oh God, here we go.
He's recently compared. I mean, considering this guy's the figurehead, the fighter for racial justice, he's compared the NFL to slavery. Bear in mind the NFL, the American Football League, the players earn tens of millions. Like Tom Brady's on like 41 million. So they make insane amounts of money, and also they're at liberty to leave.
Yes.
They're
and
not
they earn
slaves.
More than the coaches. I don't remember any time in the slave markets where the slaves were earning more than the people selling them.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. And a quote from, if we move on to the next one. Sorry, this is still in the same one. So this is a quote from Colin Kaepernick. What they don't want you to understand is what's being established is a power dynamic. Before they put you on the field, teams poke, prod, and examine you, searching for any defect that might affect your performance. No boundary respected, no dignity left intact. So he thought that was the same as slaves being poked and prod. But when you're a high-level sportsman, of course you're going to get all the scans and all the medical checks. Quite often, like a lot of companies have medical checks. When I had a proper job, I had a medical check to make sure, you know, I wasn't going to fall down dead, or if there's anything the private medical had to be concerned about. And if you're competing at a very elite level, you know, minor injuries can affect your performance. So that before they spend like tens of millions of dollars on you, they need to check that, you know, your knee isn't going to blow up on your first run.
I doubt they're going to get Krause from the Rittenhouse case to go and do the quarterback for the NFL, for instance.
Yeah, exactly, because they poke and prod him and realize that he's a fat shit. So. And Kaepernick as well. He shills for Nike. He's the face of Nike. So you can see here Nike shoes, or Nike. Do you say Nike or Nike?
I say Nike.
Nike. Let's say Nike then. And if we go up and see the headline, go up. So Nike actually uses real slaves, genuine slaves. There's more slavery now in the world than there was at the height of the transatlantic slave trade, by the way.
Oh, really?
But it's not being done
Is that a different definition of slavery, or...?
No, it's basically... there's a lot of forced labour, and there's a lot of, indentured servitude and stuff as well.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, if you go to Libya, there's open slave markets. Just actual slaves who've been taken from sub-Saharan villages and places like that, and being sold at markets. In the Middle East, there's slavery, and in the Far East as well. There's a lot of child labour and very unethical working practices. But in China, in particular, so China obviously is committing. It's been described as a genocide by America, and possibly by the United Nations. So the Uyghur Muslims who are being persecuted by China, they're having their whole culture, way of life wiped out. There's horrific things going out. There's rape. There's sort of forced breeding programs. Just real horrific things, concentration camps, and in the concentration camps, they're forced into slave labor, actual slave labor. It's not indentured servitude, actual forced slave labor, unpaid, treated, worked till you die.
Yeah, terrible
just
stuff.
Horrific stuff. And who uses it? Nike. Nike have been using slave labor in China. Absolutely disgusting stuff. And they've also used child labor. If we move to the next one. So there's still labor abuses at Chinese factories for Nike and stuff. I think if you scroll down, you see Nike mentioned. And the next one this is a famous photo. Wow. This is in Time magazine. So this is a 12-year-old boy, Tariq in Pakistan, sewing Nike footballs. This appeared, not Time magazine, Life magazine. And this brought a lot of public attention onto Nike to stop them using child labor and slave labor. Otherwise, they'd still do it because they're a company that wants to make money, and their whole business model is based on the ethos of using the absolute cheapest labor to produce their incredibly expensive branded goods. And then they've got more money to pay to their elite stars, such as Colin Kaepernick, to advertise these goods that are made by forced slave labor and child labor. So Colin Kaepernick as well. If we move on to the next one, he calls for abolishing police in prisons in an essay. So he started doing essays now. I can't wait to read them. And also the next one, he wants to replace them with community policing. Ben and Jerry's want to. Oh wait, that's the same thing again. Have we got the next one?
Next one.
Maybe it's not on there. But he supports replacing them with community policing, which is exactly what Kyle Rittenhouse was doing.
Yep.
He was protecting his community. But yeah, Ben and Jerry's have tweeted about his trial. So actually, that's why it went back to that one. Nice little. We're closing the loop there. So yeah, and so Ben and Jerry's constantly tweeting about race, constantly tweeting about racism, but it's actually Ben and Jerry's who are racist. So if we move on to the next tab, Ben and Jerry's milk and cookies ice cream, incredibly high in sugar. You can see the nutrition information there. 31 grams per 100 grams is sugar. So half a tub would be 77.5 grams of sugar, which is, I think half a tub is sort of what you'd eat in a sitting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they always say, this contains 8 servings. Oh, this lasagna feeds a family of 8. No, it doesn't. I eat the whole thing.
It eats me. It feeds me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Stop describing me. Stop trying to identify me as a family of 4. I identify as a man of 1. So incredibly high in sugar. Like the safe amount, if we move to the next tab, the safe amount of sugar to eat per day, according to the American Heart Association, is 37.5 grams of sugar if you're a man, 25 grams if you're a woman. So, like half a tub of this stuff contains like twice, or if you're a woman, like 3 times as much sugar as you can have. And sugar, of course, causes obesity. Sorry.
No problem.
It causes obesity and other loads of health problems, inflammatory problems, all kinds of health problems, rots your teeth and all the rest of it. But it also causes diabetes. And if we move to the next tab, ethnicity and type 2 diabetes. So people from Black African, Caribbean, and South Asian backgrounds are at a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes, which is developed through the consumption of, refined carbohydrates and sugar, especially sugar. Sugar leads to a direct spike in insulin levels.
I mean, there's a good point to be made here, which is that these sorts of people, especially the activist Ben and Jerry's types, always go on about how it's structural inequalities and in the disparities in the results is what makes it racist. So you are correct that Ben and Jerry's are feeding white people and black people and Asian people ice cream, all of the same kind, but it is disproportionately affecting black and minority ethnic. Therefore, Ben and Jerry's, you are racist.
Exactly. And also they're woke virtue signaling right on the back of Black Lives Matter. They're trying to align themselves with BAME communities, and so they're actively promoting it to BAME communities, which is targeting BAME communities and is resulting in deaths in BAME communities from diabetes. So according to the CDC, the next tab, according to the CDC, diabetes is the 7th leading cause of death in the USA, and there are nearly 80,000 deaths each year due directly to diabetes. So Ben Ben and Jerry's are, their sales have gone up 26% during lockdown, during all the Black Lives Matter stuff, because they cleverly jumped on it. And I mean, I don't have the exact stats, but I mean, I think if we broke down the increase in sales, I think, given that they've hijacked the Black Lives Matter movement and other social justice movements, and they're using Colin Kaepernick to advertise, they're targeting BAME communities. They're causing, and this is a serious thing. They're causing more deaths. They're directly responsible.
They're killing a community.
They're killing a community with diabetes.
Shame.
Absolutely shameful and racist targeting. Like the Ben and Jerry's marketing policy of deliberately targeting BAME consumers is racist, and it's killing them. And that's I hate to end on such a somber point, but that's genuinely what's happening here.
Put the spoon down. If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast Lotus Eaters, you can catch us live 1 p.m. UK time on our website. And if you'd like more from us, you can also subscribe to find some of our premium content.
Yeah, we actually have absolutely loads on there now because we're over a year old at this point. So we've got a massive library of content that you can't find anywhere else, such as our regular series, which are Contemplations and Epochs. Contemplations, we have philosophical and scientific discussions. And in Epochs, we have long, in-depth conversations about things that happen in history. This is one we did recently about the Nika riots, the absolutely brutal Nika riots in Constantinople. I really enjoyed doing myself. But we also have we also have loads of expert articles from people who know what they're talking about, such as this one talking about the misnomer of postmodern neo-Marxism. You may well remember Jordan Peterson getting castigated by left-wing activists for using the phrase. Well, it is a bit of a misnomer, but Thomas happens to be an expert in this subject, and so he takes you through it. And as you can see, there is a silver and gold tier member audio track that goes along with it. So if you don't want to have to read it, you can just listen to it instead. But we also have a bunch of premium podcasts that we can't really host on YouTube because of editorial guidelines, shall we say, such as Harry doing this excellent one, What Happened to the January 6th Rioters, and another one, in fact, that Harry and myself did about a whistleblower from a German public broadcaster talking about the COVID coverage and the particularly engineered narrative in which they can't talk about certain things. And so this leaves a bunch of questions up in the air, and we explore that. Again, editorial guidelines mean we can't really host that elsewhere. We also have a bunch of really excellent interviews. I did one recently with a chap called Philip Tanzer. He's if you're a men's rights activist, you may have heard of him because he comes out of that space, but he's also an ex-gay porn star who's turned conservative activist who has some very interesting opinions.
Very interesting trajectory to take.
Yeah, it's the sort of person you're probably not going to meet in your regular life, but he's a fascinating guy. He's a really nice chap. And also, follow us on alternative media because, of course, we want to break the stranglehold of Silicon Valley over everything that we do. And this means that follow us on platforms like Getter, where you can follow lotus_com to get all the latest updates from us. And also, we are speaking, or I am speaking, at a conference hosted by Getter at the London O2, the Indigo section of the London O2 on December the 8th. I'll be speaking there it's part of the Counterculture conference, where we're talking about why what is happening to the West is happening and what we can do about it. So part of that is following us on Getter and coming and see us, and of course, subscribe because that keeps everything running.